Okay, there it goes. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited. We are, audience, doing something for the first time. I'm actually doing a little video tour and inviting you to learn more about ways that you can get the keys to the property because it all pretty much hinges on lending. And I have a local lender with me, Brian, who's going to kind of go into some of the ways that you can begin to explore your options because most people don't realize because they're undergoing a lot of media minutia that there are some strategies available through the way they leverage a loan to help them get into the home. So, well, we're going to be talking about that, but first, I want to just tell you a little bit about the home itself. And Brian, thank you for being a part of this.
Absolutely. Happy to join.
Yes. So, I just want to share a little bit about Brian as well. Brian is from one of our Santa Clarita's exclusive um, real estate communities, and he's got a lot of resources to share that most people don't realize are available. So I invited him into this conversation because, no home is ever perfect, right?
That's very true.
And there's the neat thing is there's a variety of different options lending wise to address situational concerns. So we'll go into that because our job here is really to empower the next buyer to realize there's options. So before we go into that, my name is Portia, the Property Girl. I serve in the not only buying and selling space, but we actually help provide introductions to community through rentals. And as most people know, Santa Clarita is a highly sought after community. And some of the challenges, though, is with that being said, Santa Clarita sometimes can feel a little pricey. But what we do, as I leverage our RPM leg, which is our real property um, kind of exclusive leg that actually offers Serenity style properties for sale. What we do is we take a property and we actually renovate it to help buyers address a couple of concerns. One, um, when we renovate a home, obviously it kind of gives it a feel of being new. But the second thing is based on new homes, a lot of times there is high HOA cost.
Yes, there
We're,
are.
yes, and together between our local lender and how we put together homes to have more of a serenity feel, we've actually found a way to give you a similar experience for less. So we're going to talk about that. And we also are looking at ways that you can have a way to possess the property on loan terms that work for you and your family. So let's get into it. So um, here we are looking at 21602 Bedford Way in Santa Clarita. It is nestled in an amazing community that has everything you could need, including schools, parks, walk spaces, stores you can walk to, local eateries. It has a little bit of everything for everyone and friendly neighbors on top of that. And the other benefit is you have a low HOA. So as you can kind of see, you're nestled in the beautiful mountains of Saugus, and you just have a lot more space. Because a lot of the newer homes, I don't know if you would agree, but they seem to position the price tag a little high, but then you have less square footage.
Yes.
So this is in the Brock Community HOA, and the neat thing is that you have almost 2,000 square feet. It's one of the bigger homes in this community. So just to give you a little sense of what we did, as you see here, this is brand new flooring. We completely renovated it and gave it an open feel. We renovated the kitchen. We renovated, basically, we redid the cabinets. We renovated the master bathroom. We renovated the rooms because it had carpet before. I was going to actually pull up one of our past pictures, but it was just a little hard to kind of navigate since I'm new to doing this. But um, and we just made it a little bit more open and inviting. You could see we redid the colors because the colors were dark in the kitchen. It was like a deep brown, but we made it more of a neutral kind of a grayish white. And then we just really opened it up by also uh, taking the fireplace and giving it more of a neutral color. And obviously, the neat thing is you have within this home a kind of an open, inviting space with neutral color. This is kind of the start. And over 50 grand was put into really kind of helping it be more inviting for the next buyer. But sometimes, even with that said, sometimes people like their own customizations. We'll talk about that in a minute because there's a way to win there. But notice the new flooring. We're kind of doing a little side view here. This is the master bedroom that we see. It got completely opened up with just the color, the flooring. This is the renovated bathroom, new countertops, new door closures for our shower. This is one of the other bedrooms, and the neat thing is it has like a little bit more of a open closet space, but a way to actually shelve some other items. So you may not even need a dresser. This is one of the other rooms. Kind of has, oh, the same room. We're going to go to the next room in just a few minutes. This is one of my favorites. Actually, this closet opens up and there's like a little hiding space. So mom gets mad at dad or dad gets mad at mom, there's a place to hide and go, right? You just have to put a little lock on the door that's in the closet.
It's the doghouse.
Yeah, it's a glamorized doghouse. And then, of course, we have a very open and inviting backyard. We actually have some fruit trees. We have a planting place where you can plant some fruits and or some vegetables mainly for people who like to do gardening and kind of do their own natural way of fruit picking. You've got the canvas for that, or you can create a little mini spa or a mini pool and make it kind of a backyard of your own. So there's space. But we also changed the door in the front because it was red and kind of a little boring. So we made it black and we made it tie in a little bit. We actually did fix the actual staircase too. So we've done a lot to kind of open this up, and obviously we wanted to stage it to give people a few ideas. But sometimes the concern may be, when you go to a home, maybe you start off in a two-bedroom condo and your family's growing and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this work? I have to sell this condo. Or maybe you have a concern where you're like, I love the way they started. I just want to add a few more customizations. And I don't have the extra budget within my budget to make that work if I'm going to have to get a loan to get the property, right? Or maybe there might be an experience encountered where you're like, I need a little help on the front end and the back end. Either way, we've got some solutions that most people don't talk about. So I wanted to kind of hand everybody over to our money man here who can kind of give you a little bit more insight on what's available. Because we're talking about this, and I'm like, why don't we get on a Zoom and really help people navigate some options? Because there's some fears out there. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And in all I work with mainly is buyers, right? So one of the biggest frustrations I hear is we've seen everything in our budget or our price range, and we just don't like anything. Um,
Yeah.
they have this idea that they want a turnkey home, but sometimes the turnkey home may be $100,000, $200,000 above their budget, or it's just not to their liking. Maybe there's certain features that they don't like. So one of the strategies I've been working with quite a few of my buyers recently is um, pick the home that has the best neighborhood that you want to be in, and pick the home that you think has great bones, the layout you want. And you may not like finishes, you may not like the flooring. Maybe the kitchen and bathrooms need to be redone. Maybe it needs landscape work, patio. One of the things in the strategy that I'm taking is working with them doing a purchase with a renovation loan.
Oh, that's amazing. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so a renovation loan essentially is they look at the purchase price and then you put together a list of everything you want to do. We get a bid from a contractor and essentially finance in all of the renovations that you want to do.
That's
So,
awesome.
looking at this house, yeah, it looks great inside and they've done a lot of work. But maybe somebody wants to come in and build a patio and, change the exterior color, repaint some of the interior colors, anything that they want to do to make that house their own. They can actually finance that into their loan when they purchase the home
Oh,
and not
that's
have to pay out
beautiful.
of pocket in cash after they close escrow. So it's a
Now,
great strategy.
now I love this that you're mentioning this because one of the things that is kind of to some people an understanding is there's that word called equity.
Yes.
Is if the price is right and there's room in the equity, is the way that loan style is approached kind of flexible?
So how it works is we go off of the purchase price with the home as is today,
Okay.
and then we look at the work that they want to do to the property, and we essentially send over that list of upgrades, anything that they want to do to the appraiser, and the appraiser actually appraises it based on future value after all of the renovations are done.
Oh, that's amazing.
So as long as the renovations that want to be accomplished throughout the transaction add significant value to the home, then it just makes it super easy to finance it into your mortgage.
Oh, that's really intriguing. So basically, it's kind of like you kind of look at the things that you may want to do with a contractor.
Correct. So, let's say somebody walks in and wants to redo kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, repaint, a roof. Let's say they're going to spend $100,000 in renovations on a home, but it adds $200,000 to the value of the home. It makes it real easy to do.
Wow.
And you
Well,
don't have to
that's
take a personal loan. You wouldn't have to take a second mortgage, which is at a higher interest rate. It allows you to
yes.
finance all of this into your first mortgage when you purchase the home.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And then you close escrow and complete the repairs and move in.
Oh wow. Well, that definitely minimizes the concern of having to come in because I've heard people. We had another property that we fully upgraded as well, and I had a few people come in and say, once I get this, I would have to change this and that, and it doesn't seem doable. But
Right.
with this renovation style loan, you have a contractor that now do you designate the contractor or do
Yes.
they pick one?
Nope.
Okay.
They
So they don't have to
homeowner
go searching.
nope, homeowner hires their own contractor. They choose what
Okay.
work that they want to be done and they work with us to accomplish that.
Okay, cool. Because we also have a network of contractors that we work with as well, because we're property management as well. We're full stop shop. But so basically, they have some options. Now,
Absolutely.
the other problem that seems to be out there is sometimes people have homes. And for instance, one of our last upgrades that we did, we had a couple come in and they were really they were in love with the property, but then they left thinking that, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to find a way to sell our home in order to get into another home. And the market sometimes gets a little challenging during certain seasons, and so they kind of felt like they had to put everything on hold. But so you also have a way for people who have a home that needs to be sold. You have some solutions there. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, real estate should we should be looking at somebody who needs to sell and buy in a different fashion. And us at Planet, we have a proprietary exclusive, what we call our buy now, sell later program. So too often people will have a desire to want to sell their home and buy a home, and inevitably they find their dream home that they really, really want, and they haven't even yet prepared to sell their home.
Mhm.
And the agent on the listing side of the home that they want is telling them that they will not consider a contingent offer.
Yes, I've
That
had to do
is
that a few times.
that is prevalent in the industry, and it's super hard for anybody to get a contingent offer accepted. So, what our program allows somebody to do is essentially go out, we get them prepared to go out, write a non-contingent offer on their dream home. So, essentially, they find the home that they want first. Too many times they walk in, fall in love with a house, and are told, sorry, you got to get your house on the market, you got to be in escrow. Once you're in escrow, we may consider a contingent offer if we haven't sold this house yet. But what that does is it puts that customer in a very tough position because
Yes.
they're in escrow on their sale. They usually have a few weeks to go find the home of their choice. And what they're doing is they're going out looking at inventory and realizing, well, we're not finding our dream home, but we're going to settle for this one because it works.
Mm.
So
Oh, that's horrible.
either they're settling for something and they're not getting exactly what they want, or they decide, well, we're not going to find our dream home right now. So they back out and now they lost the buyer on their house because they only had a few weeks and that buyer probably moved on to something else. So we
Oh
take
my
a different
gosh.
approach. We get our buyers ready to purchase, find their dream home before they even have their home listed for sale potentially. So in that scenario, there's two main problems that most homeowners encounter. One is they need equity from their current home for a down payment on the new home. And two, qualifying for two mortgages is very difficult for a lot of people.
Oh my gosh, it is.
So to go non-contingent, you need down payment and you need to either qualify for both mortgages and make a ton of money to do that, which, a majority of people just don't have the capability of carrying two mortgage payments or qualifying for that. So our
Yeah.
program solves both of those problems. We can tap into the equity of their current home for the down payment on the new home, and we can exclude their monthly payment on their current home from the qualifying on the purchase of the new home. So it is a way for people to look at buying a home differently than traditional ways of looking at it. The benefit to them is one is they secure their new home non-contingent, which gives them more leverage and you can negotiate better when you're non-contingent,
Oh yeah, when there's not something hanging over your head.
right?
Right.
So you're more likely to get a better deal on the home that you want to purchase being non-contingent. The second thing is it also allows them to move on their schedule. So, in a typical scenario, you're closing escrow on your sale today and you got to move out by tomorrow or the next day. When you buy your new home first, you have time to move into your new home. Once you're out of the old home, you can go ahead and get it ready, get it clean, paint it, do whatever needs to be done to market and sell that home for top dollar. And it's
Yes.
either staged or it's even vacant. And we know sometimes vacant homes actually sell for more and sell faster because buyers come in and they can look at it and visualize their furniture and their lifestyle in that house versus what's already in there. So, there's a huge advantage to looking at doing real estate differently today when you want to sell and buy.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I want to add a couple of scenarios in there that I hadn't really thought about until you talked. But let's say you are in a situation where maybe you have two properties, and then and one of them you're living in, and then one of them you have rented out.
Hmm.
And let's say you, for a job, have to move back to the place that you have your, let's say, renter in. Um, is it possible to take that home that you have as a rental and use it as one of those non-contingent purchases? If let's say you have 2 months, because sometimes there's a tenant in there and you have to go through the process of moving them out.
Right.
So, is there a strategy within that type of scenario that you could work out to where they could still do that contingency purpose purchase?
The
Non-contingent purchase.
non-contingent. So in that scenario, if they're going to move back into their rental property, but yes, if they're going to sell their current primary residence, we can do a buy now, sell later to
Okay.
move them into a new home. That's not a problem. Um, it's really it's designed to allow somebody to go ahead and find their dream home first. And there are third-party companies out there that claim and accomplish roughly the same goal of buying before selling, but most of all of the programs are super expensive. They can run, tens, twenties, thirty thousands of dollars to accomplish it, depending on how long it takes. So they're just not a viable option. And our program is by far the best and super inexpensive. So
Yeah. And
it's in my opinion the best way to buy.
now let's talk about time frame. Because how long do you have to find that best home?
So once we pre-approve somebody under the program, they could find their dream home in a month, or they could take them 6 months, but they're ready to go to pull the trigger on that dream home that they find. So if they're looking for, something specific, let's call it a Santa Clarita single story home with a pool and it must have RV access, that will take a while to find.
Right.
But if that is what they absolutely have to have, we'll have them ready to go. The second one of those comes up on the market, they're ready to be that first offer in, secure that home, and then focus on selling their home when they're ready to.
Oh, well, that's amazing. Now, is there a process that once they enter their home on the market, how long do they have to sell their home that's under your program?
So generally, we like to see them move into their new home within the first 2 weeks of closing of escrow on that property.
Okay.
And then they can be listed for sale while they're in escrow, purchasing their new home. There's no restriction on when they want to list or need to list that home. So they
Oh,
can they
okay.
can wait till after they close on the new home. Like I said, come in, do some repairs, clean up the house, make it more presentable to, command a few more dollars in sales price. But they have 6 months to sell their home from the time they close on their new one.
And that's not bad at all.
With average days on market at what, 52 now, something like
Yeah.
that. 6 months shouldn't be a problem.
That's the and it's a matter of just proper pricing and
It,
making it um,
100%.
visual ready. So that's
Absolutely.
amazing. Now, there's also that other little problem that most people don't really like to acknowledge because obviously the media is kind of giving people a lot of doom and gloom. But
Yes.
we were also talking about a way that people might be able to possible take care of the front end of the help with closing costs, as well as perhaps the back end, the interest rates, because everybody's raving and sharing their painful challenges with interest rates. But there's a way to tackle too that most people haven't really even considered. Obviously, a lot of people haven't considered what we talked about right now.
Right.
But with that being said, can you share a little bit about some strategy there?
For sure. A lot of lenders don't really strategize with their buyers. They do a pre-approval, they put some numbers on a piece of paper and say you're pre-approved for X. Go sell your home and go buy a new one. But there's definitely strategies, especially in the market we're in right now, to structure a transaction that is more favorable to the buyer. So, there's right now the ability to ask for concessions towards closing costs. So, a lot of sellers are willing to contribute to a buyer's closing costs, which then reduces the cash needed out of pocket for the buyer to get into the home. The other thing, as you talked about with the rate and on the back end, in addition to asking for closing costs, we could also ask the seller to pay for what is called a 2-1 buy down, where the interest rate is 2% lower the first year, 1% lower in the second year, and then it goes to whatever the market is at the beginning of the third year. when the loan was locked. So, we can help with monthly payment strategy wise, and we can also help with cash and closing costs on the front end as well. So, but the one thing that, I have this conversation with all of my buyers, and everybody, like you said, with the media and the doom and gloom and interest rates, and oh my gosh, we're back to 6.75%. When talking to specific buyers and when I'm looking at their financial situation, the one thing that, I try and have them not focus on so much as what the actual rate is itself, but the more important part is cash flow. If it still
Yes.
fits within your budget and you're buying the home that you really want, there's only one thing that can happen, over the next few years, and interest rates drop, you're going to refinance and you're going to lower that monthly payment.
Right.
So in two scenarios, mortgage rates are going to do one of three things. They're either going to go up, stay the same, or go down. So if they stay the same or go down, you've won. If they go up or they stay the same, you've won. If you refinance down the road and rates drop, you can lower your interest rate and lower your monthly payment. So if it fits your budget today, it's the house you want, go ahead and buy it, because as soon as rates start dropping again, more demand is going to come in, more buyers are going to jump in, and prices on the homes are going to go up, and you're not going to have as much leverage to get in with the deal you want.
I love how you use that word leverage because oftentimes it's the worst scenario when you're waiting for people to for interest rates to go down. I remember when I think it was I want to say 2020, 2021, somewhere around
Hmm.
that time frame. We had that what the bleep just happened, and it started with a C, right?
Right.
So when a home went on the market, the interest rates are really low, but the lines to make offers were really long.
Yep.
So, and it was hard because really, especially for the first time buyer, they were priced out of the market. There was no way that their offer was even going to be looked at
Yep.
because obviously in the name of the game you want the highest and best. People who had homes were able to sometimes come in with, I'll do 50 grand over asking,
Right.
or let's put in a clause to where I'll accelerate what I'm willing to offer based on the highest offer.
Right.
So it was getting messy,
It
right?
was
And I
crazy.
remember just feeling stressed as an agent because not only was there a line, but then you had agents who were crying and using words that aren't even part of my vocabulary because their offer didn't get chosen.
Yep.
Right? It was a mess.
Yep.
And it's like, go back to etiquette school. But everybody was stressed because it's like everybody wanted to give their clients a way to get their dream home, but it just seemed like there was no avenue
Yep.
with just the ability people had to be competitive. And who
It,
knows where people got that money?
yeah.
Right?
It's interesting though, and let's look at a comparison, the market today and the market back then, right? It was crazy, 15 offers on every home, 20 offers within the first 4 days, to today where things are taking a little longer to sell, and buyers have a lot more leverage today. But in both cases, back when things were crazy, if they had 15 offers, they weren't considering anybody who was contingent, even
Right?
though even though their contingent offer, their house would probably sell within days as well. And here we are in a completely different market, and agents still don't, or the sellers don't want to take a contingent offer in today's market because they don't want to wait for the other
Right?
person's home to sell.
And
So
that's the
that's
huge
where
problem.
the value of the buy now, sell later, everybody should be looking at that as the strategy to purchase a new home if they have a home to sell, because it's going to give them the best deal on the new home and it'll allow them to sell their current home for top dollar.
Yes, and that's what's important is knowing that for one, you have more options. So there's a lot more ways that people can work with you. And I think it's important, with that being said, it's important to also connect with the right lender that has a lot of solutions because oftentimes, the biggest challenge that people are having is they don't have the right lender relationship. And if you have the right lender relationship, they're going to go into options and avenues that most people aren't really talking about. And what I love about your resources is that you have so many different ways. We're just tipping the iceberg
Yep.
with the three options, right? But there's so many different ways to buy. And one of the things that people may not even consider is your lender can also help you based on what you've got to work with, position your offer to win.
Yep.
So it's really important that they get to know a great lender who has the avenues and options to provide the best way to structure an offer so it can win.
Yep.
So, is there anything else you want to add to help people kind of overcome this hurdle of this mortgage minutia? Because a lot of times the media gets paid to say what they say,
Right.
and people take in information that just causes more fear. But what we're here to do is add more light to the process and help people understand there's options. You just got to know how to ask. Is
Yep.
there some tips and tricks that you want to give people to
You
help them
know, I
uncover that?
when I talk to buyer, especially first time home buyers, because they've never been through it. If somebody owns a home, their scenario is a little different. They're probably a little more educated on the process, unless it's been 30 years since they bought a home. But too many lenders out there look at this as a commodity for a lot of people. And what I mean by that is they look at each transaction and as nothing more than a transaction. And,
Yes.
we're talking about the biggest financial purchase that somebody's going to make in their lifetime. And without education, strategy, and all of the knowledge you need to go out and be successful to purchase the home of your dreams, you're not going to succeed when you're just given a pre-approval that says you're approved to $1 million, go find a house. Because there's too many aspects in that $1 million purchase that are overlooked by a majority of first-time home buyers because the lender's not educating them and walking them through every step of the process, not just from pre-approval to getting into escrow and closing on their escrow, but even after the fact. You've got supplemental tax bills. You've got a lot of things that buyers, especially first-time home buyers, need to understand and what to expect that nobody talks about.
Yes, and that can actually dismantle a lot of the fear because one of the things I love about you is you kind of take more of the consultative approach. You're
Hmm.
not just throwing them a document. And I think that's where really the fear comes in because you have all this media minutia and then you're getting thrown documents that you don't even understand.
Yep.
So it's important to understand the financial situation because there's a lot of benefits to being a homeowner. But you've got to be aware of what your expenses are going to look like and how you can leverage that over time. And
Exactly.
that's where the benefit of home ownership comes in. It's being able to say, I want to work at lowering what I'm paying per month. Whereas if you're in a tenant situation, for instance, every year your owners who own the property are looking at putting your cost up, right? And then there's no guarantee that you're going to live there as long as you want to
Right.
because they may want to use the property for something else. They're aware. So it's really important that you have a good lender. I call them coaches, right? Because you need to look at your whole financial picture and look at what loan matches your situation and helps pretty much extinct some of the fears that you may have because the fear really comes from a lack of knowledge. It doesn't come from the options. It's just not knowing how to use them.
Exactly.
So, um, thank you all for watching this auto webinar. This is new. And I just want to end with a couple of things. We're going to give some insights into the community around Bedford Way with a little bit of a community shot through one of my photographers. And also, we're going to give you some information to consider when you're looking at making a purchase, whether you're a first time buyer or whether you're a homeowner who simply wants to move up. This is one of the best opportunities to move up in, have one of the bigger homes with low HOA, and that's positioned around everything you can need from schools, parks, eateries, stores, post office, all within a few minutes so that gas doesn't have to be an issue, right? Because if you have everything you need around you, where do you need to do a long commute for? And you can even perhaps, pick a space to work in. So that said, we just want to help you introduce a way to win as you partner with either me, Portia the Property Girl, or our money man of the hour, Brian Woodley, which can open up your world of possibility through the lending planet. And I didn't actually say that it's the planet. Tell us a little bit more about how to reach you.
You can reach me. My cell phone is the best. Area code 661-645-3499. You can find me you can just search my name, Brian Woolley, Woolley, at Planet Home Lending. And then you can get my email and all my contact information that way as well.
Okay, cool. And what I'm going to make available, just through this little landing page that this will go on, is a way to connect with you. So they can just press a button. And
Perfect.
that way they can go over their options. Because really, take your situation and look at your options. Because, from a, like, maybe a spiritual standpoint, to bring that in there, you have not because you ask not. And actually, I think the other thing is maybe you need to know how to ask the right questions.
Yes.
So, um, just feel free to reach out and just ask, what are my options? Here's my situation. What are my best lending instrument options? Because a loan is simply a wealth instrument that empowers you to be where you want to be in the community that you need to be around to have the things that you need that actually can help bring you more life. Places for your kids to play, places to go. And one thing I want to mention as an extra added edge, one of the neat things about this location is there's two areas around Halloween and around Christmas that really provide amazing resources for families. One is the Westridge Light Show. There's a neighborhood that devotes itself to just lighting the whole entire neighborhood. It's HOA planned, and it really gives families an amazing experience. And then there's also the Halloween extravaganza on Agajanian, where it's almost like you're going to a mini amusement park, like Knoxbury Farm, and everything's lit up. There's haunted houses. There's people who are in the entertainment industry redoing their house to make it more of a set. Amazing. And then you have concerts in the park where you can actually explore the park, walk your dog, and then hear amazing music. That's free, right? So there's a lot of things that you can do that don't take an arm and a leg to do. It's just a matter of hop, skip, and a jump and have some opportunities to enjoy your family and community. So we'll give you information on all that as a giveaway, lead giveaway on the landing page that I've created. And we just want to invite you to come explore more. We will be rolling out with some more open houses, but we will have one tomorrow between 3 and 5. And then possibly some rolling out on the weekend. So stay tuned for more as we want to invite you to explore the home that has possibly everything you need and a way to have access to that. So stay tuned. And thank you guys all for tuning in.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay. So I just press pause. Let me see on the stop share. And I think I'm going to be able to stop the pause on the recording. Okay.